Well, security concerns remain high in the US as the country gears up for the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. Police in Washington, D.C. have arrested and charged a man who was found with a handgun and 500 rounds of ammunition at a checkpoint set up ahead of the events this week. Saley Lockwood has more from the US Capitol.
We're in Black Lives Matter Plaza opposite the White House. Now, this area has been surrounded by law enforcement for many months now, but the perimeter of security in central Washington, D.C. has only grown and grown in recent days. 25,000 members of the National Guard now here in the US Capitol to try and ensure a peaceful transition of power. Donald Trump spending his last weekend in the White House, and it feels he's increasingly detached from reality. These extraordinary scenes we're witnessing around him, the military is almost managing his exit from the White House now, and that's because, of course, of these threats of more militant groups coming to Washington, D.C. and other state capitals to launch more attacks. Now, why is it hard for intelligence agencies to try and work out what might be being planned and plotted here? Well, it's because after January the 6th, those riots that we saw on Capitol Hill, many of those individuals and groups were booted off mainstream media, so it's a lot more challenging for intelligence agencies to try and track down the chatter that is involved in more protests and unrest. And on top of that, on January the 6th, let's not forget Donald Trump's base had their marching orders from him, from the Oval Office. He called on them to descend on Washington, D.C. And now there appears to be a lack of organisation in terms of what they want to do next. Now, meanwhile, we're hearing more about what Joe Biden plans to do when he becomes the next president, and we've been learning that there will be a blitz of executive orders, which is normal for an incoming president, at least 12 on his first day in office. And they include rescinding Donald Trump's travel ban on immigration to the United States from predominantly Muslim-majority countries. He also plans to sign an executive order on that first afternoon in office to rejoin the 2015 Paris Climate Accord. Of course, the US was the only country out of 189 to pull out under Donald Trump's administration. And on top of that, he plans to mandate mask wearing on federal property and during interstate travel. Meanwhile, far-right extremism remains the biggest threat to US security domestically. That is a challenge for Joe Biden that may take a lot longer to resolve. He's coming in and inheriting an extremely divided country. And this division and all this disruption that we're seeing around us is simply because Donald Trump won't acknowledge he's lost this election legitimately.